Hello, Christian.
Hello, Brandon.
What is the role of a father in a child's life?
The role of a father is to teach the child about the world. Now, I'm not saying that that's not the mother's job, obviously, because as parents, you want to teach your child about all the great things in the world, but you also want to prepare them for the bumpier aspects. A father should teach their child how to do, certain things like how-to skills that you would need in everyday life. Like, silly enough, like mowing the yard, changing a light bulb, even the small things can go great lengths.
What is the role of a mother in a child's life?
The mother should teach the child, their children, a child, how to be kind, how to be a loving, open person. Now, that isn't to say that, a father can do that as well, but the mother should take that upon themselves to expand their child's knowledge, help them to grow as an individual, and learn not so much the how-to, but how to become a better individual.
What parenting strategies that your parents used were effective for disciplining you as a child?
It's kind of silly saying it as an adult, but time out. But not so much as time out, but the idea of a consequence, that your actions have consequences. If you do one thing, expect the consequences to be this. Just to instill right and wrong within the child.
What did timeout do for you as a child in terms of discipline?
What timeout did was it showed me that if I act out or misbehave, that things can be taken away from me. So what timeout started to do, as it showed that my freedom could be taken away, as in my right to go play outside or, watch TV, whatever those cases may have been, just to show that, if you want to keep doing the things you enjoy, you just gotta behave. You just gotta behave.
Do you see modern technology as a tool or an obstacle for parenting?
I mean, it's tough because obviously it can be both. There's, it can be a tool. You can search up a multitude of things, how to do this better as a parent, how to do that better as a parent. But then again, those things could obviously be done by the parents themselves. Technology can really, in the long run, kind of inhibit that. It can distract the child and be seen as a sort of wall that can be hit, if you will.
Describe the ideal school for your future child.
An ideal school would be one where my child can learn the things they want to learn. They can expand upon the knowledge that they may or may not already have. School should not be a place where certain ideas are shoved in a child's face. They should be presented to a child, and then that child can make up their mind and make a decision on how they feel about whatever that thing may be.
What qualities would you look for in a woman that you would make the mother of your child?
She's got to have a great personality. She's got to have the sun in her smile. She's got to have a kindness, but also a sternness. Therefore, she can comfort the child when need be, and be stern with the child when need be.
What's something that you think a lot of parents get wrong when parenting?
I feel that some parents are a bit harsh when it comes to those punishments I mentioned earlier. As you know, you may know, not every parent is going to get it right. You know, it's one of those things that you have to learn over time, right? It's something that can be expanded upon, built upon. But there are times when I believe that parents will, make a punishment too harsh. Now, certain circumstances may be a bit more extreme than others. In that case, I understand if said punishment is a bit harsher in those scenarios. But those punishments should not, in a way, I wouldn't say destroy, but hurt the child, if that makes sense.
What would be an example of a punishment or consequence that you would deem unfair?
I would say a grounding of a extensive amount of time. Now, for example, if a child is messed up and the parent feels the need to, let's say, ground their child for a couple weeks, I say that's pretty fair. However, if you're going to go as far as to do the grounding for, months on end, that can not only feel suffocating to the child, but could lead to a kind of chasm in the relationship. You want to discipline a child in a way that they'll understand that they've made a mistake, but not in a way that they resent the parent.
How would you navigate that line as a future parent?
So, me personally, if the offense, if you will, that the child has gone and done is of minor to little consequence, I would, be stern and give a rather light punishment, just so the child understands that, hey, I made a mistake, and it was a small mistake, but I still have to do, these are the consequences. Now, if the circumstance calls for a greater punishment due to the circumstance being a bit more on the rougher side, if you will, that punishment will have to be a bit stern, but it will not be suffocating to the child. It will not be something that the child eventually, crumbles under. It'll be stern, and it'll be to the point, but it will not be suffocating.
Imagine your future child when you have fully instilled a sense of morality in them with these parenting techniques. At an adolescent age or so, is arrested for shoplifting. What's your response as a parent?
So, I would not come in guns blazing, angry, shouting, things of that nature. I would I would approach my child. I would let them know that, hey, you've made a pretty big mistake. This is what happens when you make a mistake like this. Now, I would be upfront with them. I would explain to them why shoplifting, as in this scenario, is a practice that should not be continued, something that should not be repeated. It is a blunder to the child's future, and more so their character. As long as the child understands that they've made a mistake, a rather grave one, not world-ending, but still rather grave. As long as they've come to terms with that and they understand that, and they realize that following down a path like that will bring no good, then I would say that I'm satisfied.
At that point, you wouldn't feel the need to instill a punishment.
Yes. See, I would still have to instill some sort of punishment, as not doing so would send a message to the child that, hey, I did this thing and I got off almost scot-free. You want to make sure that that thought process does not seep into the child's mind. You don't want that to become a part of who they are. So as long as that is instilled in the child, I'd say I've done my job.
Finally, what of your personal interests do you hope to share with your future child?
One is definitely my love of basketball. It's a great sport to play. I mean, obviously there are other great sports out there. Each sport is a great form of exercise. That's another great thing. Exercise is always great, and participating in a sport like basketball is great. It's fun. It can help with hand-eye coordination, and it's just another way to build relationships, make friends. You know, it's a way to fit in, and all the while having fun.
One last question, if you don't mind.
Of course.
Would you like to use your platform to say anything to the parents across America?
I do, and that is this. Be stern, be firm, and be kind.